I told a woman the meaning of her daughter's name and now everyone is upset with me. 3 weeks ago I went to visit my friend Alice, and during my visit Mary, a friend of Alice, came unexpectedly over. Mary and I started a conversation, and during that conversation Mary asked me what my cultural ethnic background was, and I explained that I was Ethiopian. Mary seemed really happy to hear that, as it confirmed what she believed I was. We talked about how she spent time in Ethiopia for some outreach program when she was younger, and how much of an impact the people, culture and traditions had on her. She then told me that the locals named her Yamayamchi because that means beloved one, and that she loved the name so much that she has named her newborn daughter it. I asked her if she was serious. She told me she was, and well, Yamayamchi. Correct spelling is Yamayamechi and the closest English spelling is Yamayamechi. Does not mean beloved one in Amharic. It actually means uncomfortable, inconvenient, imbecile, depending on how you use it. So I told her the true meaning. Mary is now very angry with me and refuses to accept that she named her child an unpleasant, offensive name. Mary left angry, and Alice is now upset with me for hurting Mary's feelings, as she feels I shouldn't have told her. I do feel bad, as she seemed genuinely hurt by it, and I don't know what to do or how to fix hurting Mary's feelings. How do I fix this? In the US, you can change a baby's name within the first year without much hassle. You possibly save this child from a lifetime of having a horrible name. She probably isn't mad at you, just mad that she was lied to all those years ago. The people she thought were her friends were actually making fun of her. That has to hurt. But that isn't your fault. I think you did the right thing by telling her. Your friend Alice, she really be in your side here. Nah, you did the right thing. She'll go home, look it up, fume for a while, and then call the kid something else. You did her a favor. Imagine that kid growing up oblivious and wondering why she gets funny looks from any Ethiopian folks she might meet. It's her issue to come to terms with. It's not on you to fix. She is upset about the truth. She isn't actually angry at you. She is angry that the people insulted her and she named her daughter that. She feels like a fool. Give her some time to process. When I had a friend who wanted to use Chinese characters as a tattoo before she did it, I went to the local Chinese American school and asked them what it meant, without telling them what I thought it meant, just to confirm. She could have found someone Ethiopian to talk about it with, or an Ethiopian blog or Ethiopian community online. My friend's tattoo got more research. Imagine naming your kid after what the locals called you, and your white savior trip to Ethiopia, without giving it a quick internet search. Bonkers. Mary isn't hurt by it. She's embarrassed because she looks silly. You didn't have the conversation with intent to hurt her, so you don't need to apologize. She is playing victim because it's easier than admitting, I named my daughter something I don't have that much knowledge in. I would share some more information about your language, cultural significance of your names and such, or just write it off as a bruised ego. She should have looked up the name before giving it to her daughter. That's on her, not you. Edit. Wow guys, this is the first time I've ever gotten over 1,000 upvotes. Thank you. She sounds like a real Yamayamchi. IIRC, Yime Yime Kai sounds a lot like you also eat ants in Chinese, but don't tell her that. She can't handle the truth. Quote. You did the right thing. She really should have just given it a googs herself a long time ago. She is really mad at herself and probably really embarrassed by it. Also, the reaction is expected. Again, not your fault. Nothing but praise for the people in Ethiopia who gave her this nickname. Clearly they felt very different about her white savior trip than she did. There's something about these little acts of resistance against the International Division of Labor, which sees wealthy people travel to underdeveloped countries to save them, that just fills me with joy. Anyway, it's not your job to fix. You did her a favor and hopefully helped her reflect on her experience there. She's just angry, embarrassed that she never knew they were making fun of her. Everyone is affirming that you did nothing wrong, which I agree with, but I'll try to give you some actual advice on how to handle the situation. I'd reach out to Alice and say very simply something like, "I'm sorry for upsetting your friend Mary. That wasn't my intention at all. I just thought it was important for her to know the truth about the name she gave her daughter, as I'd hate for the child to be burdened with such an unfortunate misunderstanding. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, and I hope you can accept that I only did what I felt was right. You don't owe an apology, but you may feel better, less guilty, and an apology may help Alice to let it go, see the situation more clearly, and stop blaming you." This reminds me of the joke, "They call me Dumbasso in Spain," which means good gambler. Daughter would have found out a few weeks after she became old enough to use Google, and if she didn't, then they would have the more traumatic ending where someone else in schools does, and then they're taunted for it. Seriously, you helped this child get ahead of a train wreck their mother put them on the track for. Don't let the mom push you in front of that train. You did nothing wrong. I mean, you were just the messenger. I'm sure her kid would one day Google their own name at some point like everyone does. As far as how to fix it, I think it might be good to leave her alone for a day or so it's not fresh. Try to meet in person to sincerely apologize, perhaps for the fact of not telling her privately, not thinking how she would understandably be upset. She made a big decision when naming her child. Now, she and the child now has to either live with the name, or decide to change and deal with that can of worms. It's a no-win scenario. If you apologize without defending yourself, she will hopefully see you were only a messenger trying to help. Like having a booger hanging out your nose. You're embarrassed when someone points it out, but in the end, you're thankful someone did instead of letting you walk around with a booger hanging out. Hope this helps. You can't fix it. She was an idiot for not making sure of the meaning before giving her daughter a foreign name. Well, they weren't wrong on the imbecile part. I suspect a lot of the hurt is more by the fact people she though cared about her were calling her an insulting name and laughing about her behind her back. Yeah, she was doing the whole ego-stroking thing, but still it would hurt if you thought people were your friends and they did that to you. If the kid is really a newborn baby, she can change the name. Give it a few days. Then maybe as a token of friendship, maybe you could also gently offer her the correct word, as for beloved one, or maybe there's an actual girl's name that means the same or similar in Ethiopian. Maybe apologizing by saying you didn't mean to hurt her feelings, and that finding that out must have hurt and you didn't mean to hurt her but thought she would want to know. Then offer her the information. But honestly, I imagine a lot of her hurt is tied up in people she thought liked her being dicks to her and laughing behind her back. And yes, again, I understand she was there getting an ego massage, but I'm willing to bet that even if her reasons for going were selfish, she was an ideological kid on her first trip away from home, thinking she was making lifelong friends, memories, and maybe even helping a little. And it was an important life-changing trip for her, and to find out it was all a lie must hurt.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.